Good evening. This is the Carver Finance Committee meeting for July 31st, 2023. The time is 6:30. Can we all rise for the Pledge of Allegiance? Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Thank you, Area 58. Hi, Ashley. So you can see, yeah, just set up right there. We'll take a minute. Actually, while Ashley's setting up, would you pass that over to her? That's a packet. You'll notice that the town administrator and the finance director are not here tonight. Bob sent me an email. He asked if I would read this tonight. Unfortunately, due to a personal family matter, I'm unable to attend tonight's meeting. However, I want to ensure the full FinCom that no financial issues or needs remain beyond the close of the fiscal year, which is the stuff that we discussed on our July 10th meeting. We are now moving on to the new fiscal year with the Finance Director activating and initiating the new VADAR software program, including the training of the staff. The Finance Director and I have begun to set forward a newly refined process for preparing the FY25 budget. And in that regard, we will have a full update for the Finance Committee meeting in the fall. We both look forward to continued collaboration with the Finance Committee throughout the process. And I got one, this was CC'd also, Sue opined. As per our earlier discussion, there are no updates for the committee from Finance. So, given that was the facts, Bob said, you think I can not come tonight? And I said that was the only question we were going to ask you was, is everything still the same as it was July 10th? Because there were things that changed last year. And he said, no, everything's just like it was. I said, perfect. So that was that. So, the question that people on Facebook seem to be asking is the transfer request from the reserve fund. So if you would like to sit up, if you would grab a second chair, sure. I already have the transfer request and stuff, Joe, so.
Okay. I'm not sure if
yeah, you're welcome to. Thank you.
Thank you.
Oh, I don't have this sheet. So just people that are on the committee that may not know, there was a lot of questions asked, well, not a lot of the same person asking the same question today on social media about this item concerning Edaville, and I didn't respond. And the reason I didn't respond, or what I did respond, was we don't know. This is what the meeting is for tonight, to find out what this is about, and I'm not going to make any speculations on social media before the committee's had a chance to look at it and then ultimately either vote on it or however that works out. So it's being recorded. I'm not sure if we're live tonight or not, but it's being recorded. It'll be on YouTube in a couple of days, and it was a public meeting. So that's what my opinion is of that. So the floor is yours, sir.
All right. I'm Joe Roach. I'm the town assessor. I'm with Ellen Blanchard, chair of the Board of Assessors. We're here tonight seeking $22,200 from the reserve fund for the purpose of obtaining an appraisal of Edaville Railroad for fiscal years 2020, 2021, 2022, and 2023. This has nothing to do with affordable housing or anything like that. This is because of abatements that were filed with the Board of Assessors for those fiscal years. So if you look at the legal size spreadsheet that I just handed out, these are the parcels that are in question. You have map 87E2 and 87E1. 87E2 is roughly 199 acre parcel, which contains the theme park improvements. Map 87E1 is a 31 acre parcel, which is primarily the parking lot. So we're looking for an appraisal of this property because of the special use nature of it. When you look around, you can't find another family theme park miniature railroad that was operating, not operating during COVID. You can't find one in Massachusetts. I haven't found any in New England. I'm not sure if there's any anywhere. So it's incredibly special use, and it's beyond really the ability of the office or anybody within the broader assessing community to conduct this for the purpose of an abatement. So we're looking to obtain an MAI appraisal. An MAI is an accreditation by the Appraisal Institute that carries a lot of weight at the Appellate Tax Board, and it would be conducted within the standards of USPAP and would really give the Board of Assessors and the town more generally a good firm footing and say this is the fair market value as of the assessment date for these years, and remove any questions, and we could go from there.
Now, I understand this current abatement it's in land court, right, isn't it? Have they fought this or anything yet?
It's at the Appellate Tax Board.
Okay. Remember during the budget, there was money that was supposed to be in free cash that we couldn't put into free cash because of abatements?
Yeah.
This is one of the abatements. So, Pat?
I'd just like to, just in general, why hasn't there been an appraisal done in the last 4 years? And when there is a valid appraisal done and it goes back 4 years, does that mean that those years may get adjusted as to the amount of tax that Edaville will owe, plus or minus?
So, I can't say for certain, but Edaville has paid all of these outstanding years. Maybe there's a couple dollars here or there that haven't been paid, but all the taxes have been paid.
Yeah,
so it'd be more of a determining the amount of a refund,
Yeah.
if any.
Well, when was the last time an effective appraisal was done on Edaville? And it's, because aren't all our houses reappraised like every 3 years and so forth? So
those
when
are
was
two
the-
different things.
Well, but when was the last one done? I mean, it's the biggest parcel in town, it's the biggest revenue generator. Why wouldn't it be appraised appropriately even on a yearly basis?
So it's assessed annually, and it's assessed by our CAMA provider, Paul Capinos. So it is assessed appropriately. It's assessed within their own limitations as a valuation provider, and it's assessed within the limitations of the information we receive. So if we're not receiving good financial information in terms of income and expense, we're hard pressed to come up with good defensible values. So all homes, all properties are assessed every year as of January 1. Edaville has never had a separate appraisal outside of
That's right.
the general assessing that happens for every property. Why this wasn't done sooner, I can't speak for fiscal 20 or 21. I got here in fiscal 22. COVID plays a part of it. The ATB wasn't hearing cases, so it really didn't, I would say it wouldn't make sense. And also, there have been ongoing back and forth, negotiations trying to reach a settlement. But when you don't have a firm grasp and something to fall back on, like an appraisal, you're sort of limited in what you can do.
It seemed to me if you knew those were the circumstances, that maybe I should have had one done earlier. I'm not an appraiser,
I think this is coming up
Take it.
as part of the abatement process. I think they're trying to infer that the land and the value of the whole place is worth less because they were shut down. It doesn't really detract. If you don't live in your house for 6 months, you don't get an abatement for half your property taxes because you didn't live there. And I think this is the angle they're trying to use, and I think that this wouldn't even come to light if they didn't, A, challenge the assessment, We probably found an assessment somewhere that was agreed upon. Now, this is speculation. And then, you know, they just added their normal 2, 3, 4% per year with the market and so forth and so on, and no one complained about it. It was only a few years ago that we were finally getting something out of the town, out of Edaville, in personal property tax numbers, because they agreed to allow, I don't even know who it was that went through the property. It might have been you. Did they let you do it, or maybe it was before you?
No, it would have been before me.
It would have been before then, and they went through and they come up with some personal property tax numbers. So I think it's come to light now because, you know, it's been shut down for these years, but honestly and truly, Edaville has not been shut down for the last, what, year and a half now? Almost 2? They could have reopened. So it's not our fault that Edaville was not open all summer this year, and it's not our fault that Edaville wasn't open all summer last year. So when this was brought up, I talked to Bob briefly about this today. I says, is this something that we should, you know, consider? And he said, absolutely. He said, because this is the only thing that's going to give us teeth to argue the abatement process. And if we do not get a certified appraisal of that property from a professional appraiser, this was Bob telling me this, now you can correct me if I'm wrong, it gives us less teeth in land court to try to argue that the property's worth what we're saying it's worth, not what he's saying it's worth. Do I have that about right?
I'd agree with that.
So then, does, in knowing that then, does that mean that this is a process that should happen with some frequency going into the future? And become part of the budget of the assessor's office instead of a surplus request?
Yeah, and I think the reason it's as high as it is because we're asking them to go back and compile 4 years' worth of.
Correct.
This wouldn't be the cost if it was go out on January 1st and give us a current value.
It would still be high. I mean, appraisals generally aren't 22,000. I mean, but
Right.
this is, you're looking at 230 acres and a theme park.
Right.
So it's going to be expensive. If it was 1 year, maybe you're at 18 versus 22, you know, but, I mean.
If we say no to this transfer tonight, and this doesn't happen, what is the liability to the town, potentially speaking? What could this cost us in abatements? Roughly.
I'd say probably 250,000.
We could lose 250 in abatements.
Correct.
So this gives us some ammunition to argue the abatement process.
Correct.
That's what I'm looking for. Okay.
Can I just?
Yes,
ask a
ma'am.
question? Okay. So I'm looking at the spreadsheet, I love how this is all set up, but it's just surprising to me that in 2020, they paid more in real estate taxes than 21, 22, or 23. So is that typical?
If you look at the classification hearings,
The
you see that a lot when you
rates
see the breakout between residential and commercial. Commercial values stay much more flat, and when you have a decrease in the tax rate, commercials often go down.
Yep.
So I would, you know, not having anything in front of me, but I'd say a lot of commercial properties probably decreased in that fiscal year just because of the decrease in the tax rate.
Sure, you almost $4 difference between 2020 and 23. And the valuation stayed roughly the same.
If we have this appraised this year, and the next year they were gonna, same company appraises it, I would think that the amount to do it would be so much less because they've done all the legwork this year. Unless there were major changes made on the property, would it be fair to say you could do a percentage next year, an increase? Or do you think they would have to do a full appraisal again?
I don't think a full appraisal would be necessary within this short time frame, but the problem is when you don't have all the figures that you need to work with to arrive at a value, instead of just the cost approach, there's 3 approaches: the cost approach, the income and expense approach, and the market approach. Since there are no other theme parks like Edaville, so the market is gone, that you can't use that approach. That leaves the cost approach and the income and expense. And primarily with commercial and industrial properties, you go with the income and expense approach. The problem is if you don't have the numbers, even though you've requested them, it's a problem. You can't make them up. So it puts us in a very awkward position of trying to put a value on a property. When we know certain things, we know kind of how many people go there and, what the turnover is, and you know how much it costs for someone to go there, but you don't know anything about the expenses
Right.
for the employees, insurance, all of the utilities, who knows what, if they have any monetary loans with a bank or privately. Those are things you don't always know. So there's a lot of information that we would need to have in order to have this done. And the reason we're having this, we want to have this person do this, is not just because he is super qualified, but his reputation is very, very good. And with this being such a special use and unique property, especially in a town like Carver, it's important that we get this done so that we don't lose a whole lot of money at the appellate tax board. We don't want to do that.
Are they refusing to give you that information?
They've been arguing.
We can't
Yes.
talk about that because it's in litigation.
Okay.
No, that was going to be my question.
No, they haven't, let's put it this way, they haven't
If there's any reluctance.
rolled out the red carpet, that's for sure.
Reluctance on their part.
Yeah.
And then if there is, what can be done about it? What can you do?
Well, that's why
Well, they
when we go
took
to
it
the
out in
appellate
court.
tax
Okay.
board, we'll have the information that they will have to try to dispute.
Can I ask one more
Sure.
question? So what happens if they come back and they do give you their income and expense approach, and we should have assessed them higher in 20, 21, and 22? Do they owe us money back?
We can't go back.
can't go
and
back.
No, it's,
Okay.
yeah. we
I tell them,
can't
because we
add.
have 4, you can't add, but they can take away.
Yeah, but I don't think that,
Okay.
correct me again, I don't think they can change the rules right now and say, okay, here's our income. I mean, they've been closed, so what can they possibly have for income?
Well, they've
Well, they were
So-
open in the
opening.
winter.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
there's no money there. They got a light bill that goes on 12 months out of the year. The light bill will negate anything they did all winter long. So I think this is absolutely the way to do it. I think that we need to get a professional appraisal in there that's pretty much indisputable. And, may the best man win when it goes to the appellate court. And it seems to me that I put my faith in both of you. You seem to be pretty impressed with this company from Hingham, so I think that, if this is what you're looking for, and I think the potential to spend $22,000 to save a potential $250,000, that seems to add up to me. Just my 2 cents. Well, in this case, 22,000 cents. Walter? Anything?
No.
Anyone else?
Make a motion.
Anyone from the audience? Hearing none.
I'd like to make a motion to transfer the...
Just going to approve it.
Second.
Just to approve the
Transfer
22,000
the 22,200
to the appraisal.
to the appraisal. from
Yep.
the-
And I second it.
Motion made and seconded to authorize the transfer of $22,200 to the appraising department for the use of an appraisal service for Edaville Railroad as presented. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. 5-0.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Don't go away, I'll give you this right now.
Good luck with it.
Yeah, let us know.
Oh, you'll hear, we sure.
Oh, I'm sure. give that to Sue. Make sure that Bob gets a copy of it, but I think that's all that's necessary.
It should be in there.
Okay.
We're starting later than we would have in that document, so bump it up
Okay.
from here. Thank you.
Okay.
All righty. Thank you, Ellen. Thank you, Joe. All right, it's our pleasure to welcome United Parish Church of Carver on a grant application for $5,000. Come on down.
I brought along my partner in crime. This is Charlie Preston.
Hi, Charlie. How are you?
Charlie is on church council with me, and he heads up the diaconate as well. So, coming up.
Please, and just grab another chair so you both can sit.
Do we have any money left now?
We do.
Because if not, we'll
We have
just go.
$5,001.
Oh, boy.
I'll give a little background while Diane's sitting down. I think I sent the original email out. There was an email that was sent out that I was included in. It went to all of their parishioners, talking about this oil tank in the basement that is leaking or in serious need of replacement. And the kick is that it's in a dirt floor. So not only does the tank need to be replaced, but you have to pour a cement pad because you can't stick an oil tank in a dirt floor. And it was a big deal. The church found themselves short of cash. They were doing a fundraiser. And then as I spoke a little bit more with Diane, it was my suggestion that she apply for the grant for the full $5,000. If you raised some money for this, that you could reduce the amount of the grant. But there are other things that have now come to play, so they'd like us to consider the entire $5,000, and she'll explain the rest of the need.
Yeah, since Ellen and I talked, we've had a successful program and campaign to raise the funds. And
Can you pull
I
that
think-
mic in a little closer, Diane,
Oh,
please?
sure.
Just so that
Yeah.
the viewing audience can have the pleasure.
I've heard it all.
That's my husband back there. But, so I think my last count that I was given was we've raised about $3,800. But then I had forgotten about refilling the oil tank because when they pulled the old one out, I believe it was almost empty, so it's a 275-gallon tank. And then another issue has come to play because we had the insurance company, Emery & Webb, come in, and we need some work done on the glass doors, which are the main entrance to not the sanctuary, not the church, to the main building in Fellowship Hall.
That's that part that's all glassed in, right?
Yeah. So we're in the process now of getting some quotes. So when I talked with Alan, it was, plus we have some cement work to do up front because a couple of members have tripped coming in because it's broken. But I saw it similar out here at the town hall, so. But some of the concrete is broken up, and so that needs to be taken care of. So, I mean, we just don't have the money, to do all these things. We have the money to continue to operate, we just don't have money for extras. And my husband is a contractor, so he knows that those doors are gonna be expensive. So this is the way I've kind of positioned it, that I would prefer to use, if you grant us the money, I would prefer to use the money that we have raised in the church to pay for these other projects that are going to have to be done. And use the grant money to pay Roby's, and I've already paid the fellow that put in the cement slab.
Yep.
So that's in, and we're waiting for the tank to go in. And so that totals a little bit over, I've got the receipts for you. It's a little over 5,000. Plus the oil tank, plus the oil. So,
Right.
there you go.
So, and like I did last year and the year before, I checked with council, and it was the same answer that I've gotten for the last 2 years. If the grant, in their opinion, benefits the residents of the town of Carver, they have a lot of outside residents use that facility. I believe Girl Scouts,
Well, I had another call today that a gal is going to come in and use the space and Charlie doesn't even know about this, from 3:30 to 7 o'clock school days to teach ballet and theater to the grade 3, 5, and grade 3, 4, and 5
So-
students, so.
It meets our needs because it benefits the residents of Carver, and we're not buying, to use council's words, stained glass windows and pews. So therefore, there's no conflict. So based on that, it was my suggestion that she put through the grant application, because we get a lot of benefit out of that building, and it's an historical building. It's right in the center of Carver, and I think that it's something that we want to preserve to the best of our ability, and it's utilized so much by outside I know that AA goes there, I think NA goes there. There's a thrift shop there that people that, you know, are on a tight budget use. So it's the same thing I said last year. It does a lot of good for a lot of people in the town of Carver.
We try to accommodate, you know, any inquiry that comes in, we try to accommodate them as best we can without overlapping onto the A or NA, because those are the biggest group that meet.
Right.
They meet 2 nights a week. But any of the other groups that come in, we try to accommodate them. And we never, you know, we ask for just a free will donation. We don't have a specific rental schedule.
Right, you don't
or anything
rent
like
it out, that's right.
So we try to do what we can do, but it's just, as Charlie knows, it's giving us a lot of sleepless nights because it's getting harder and harder. And both he and I have been on council there for you longer than me, so.
Anyone?
If it's a historic building, could CPC ever help?
Um,
I have no problem with this, I'm just
No,
wondering.
no,
again.
potentially with maybe some structural repairs, like we did gutters.
Yeah.
We helped them with gutters a couple
You
of
did,
years ago.
yes.
And what I especially like here, and it's possible, we can check into that.
Yeah.
What I especially like is that, if you recall last year, they had a specific need, and they could have asked for 5,000, they didn't. They asked for 3,750 or something like that. Because what they were doing at the time, that's what they needed, that's what they were short. And that impressed me, just because, you know, they could have gone for the 5 grand, and they didn't. And this year, it seems like just the cost of replacing the tank and the slab and so forth and so on, then the additional work they need to have done, I had no problem with the grant going full for this amount. So, anybody else?
No, I have no problem with it either.
I take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the Town of Carver Grant Program, $5,000 to be awarded to the United Parish Church of Carver.
Second.
Motion made and seconded to approve the grant in the amount of $5,000, United Parish Church. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. There you go. If you'd be
Thank
so
you, thank
kind
you
as
so
to
much.
send me a,
We've got the receipts right here.
no, I need you to send me an invoice.
Oh, okay,
I don't
that's
need the
right,
receipts.
Yeah.
I trust you. I just need you to send me a bill.
A bill,
And then I can
right.
present that bill with
Right.
this signed piece of paper through
Yep.
payroll, and they'll put it on the next warrant.
Okay.
Because you can get that right away, because this is FY '24.
Tomorrow, is that soon enough?
No, I can't get it for you tomorrow. But it'll go out.
I'll get you the invoice
I think
tomorrow, though.
they'll have the paperwork tomorrow, so it'll be that I expect the next warrant that goes out, it will, if you can get me the bill, then I will present it. I need just a regular invoice on, like you did last year on your letterhead.
Exactly, yeah. Well, thank you.
Excellent.
Trust me, we don't like to come begging, but there just isn't, you know, it just can't
This is a
seem to
great.
get our way out of it.
You know what, this is a great idea. It benefits the town.
It does.
And we're happy to do it. We're just as happy as we are when we do Shane. This makes everybody feel good. This is what it was designed to do.
That's great. And if you saw the lines out there when Bob Merritt's funeral.
I was there.
reception was going on, you know how much respect there is for that church. I mean, it was amazing. And even Mike, his son, came back, and he was at church yesterday and sang, you know, I mean, it's just, I mean, he's never lived in Carver, we found out yesterday. But
I was there for Bob's. It was a great loss for this town.
Well, thank you very much.
My pleasure. Have a wonderful
Thank you.
evening.
Thank you.
Very much.
Nursing a bad knee, I had a fall, so.
Use the elevator.
I did. It's getting warm in here if you shut the AC off, right?
Yeah, we're going to be leaving in a few minutes. All we got to do is minutes.
If we turn it on, we can't hear each other.
Thank you, Diane.
Thank you, Alan. I'll be in touch.
Yes, ma'am. Okay. Zipping right along. Minutes. And we'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from July 10th, 2023 as written.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to approve the minutes from July 10, 2023. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Unanimously approved. There are no topics not on the agenda. Committee member comments. Anybody? Let everybody speak at once. Next meeting date, I suspect, is going to probably be sometime the first couple, 3 weeks of September. I don't see us needing one in August. There's nothing going on. Typically, there never is. I suspect that our next meeting will be when we finally get some preliminary, really early preliminary stuff for the FY25 budget. So if that happens in the first couple weeks of September, then I'll send an email out and we'll try to put together a meeting date. And we're going to keep them on Mondays. Ashley, 6:30 does work for you still?
Yeah, it's just, I work till 6, so I just rush.
So would there be a big problem if we would have moved the meetings to like 6:45 and give Ashley a couple extra minutes to not have to do 100 miles an hour trying to get here? Would that help you?
It would a little, thank you.
So let's plan on the September meeting, or whenever we have it, the next meeting will be 6:45. You try to balance it. I'm trying to accommodate Ashley to get here on time and make it easy for her, and then I feel bad that on a Monday night, if we have Bob and Sue stay, then they've got really nothing to do from 4 o'clock until 6:45, and then they're stuck here on Tuesday night for a select board meeting when they run late, which come the fall schedule, that's every 2 weeks.
I mean, if you want to do 6:30 and just give me a grace period of like 5 minutes, because I'm usually here.
Yeah, you know what, 6:45 is fine. If we
That's
get
fine,
here a
okay.
little bit early, we get here a little bit early.
Okay.
We used to do 7 o'clock, it's a bonus. All right? So with that, I'll take a motion.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
Second?
Motion made and seconded to adjourn. Any further discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye, opposed? Thank you. Good night.
We're good to go.